Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video we're going to take a look at the Forex market outlook. We're going to identify the strengths and weaknesses of the currencies and then go through a few charts and levels of interest. So just to start off with the strength and weakness chart, what we're looking at here at the moment is the fact that there's been some huge changes and shifts in the strengths and weaknesses of the market, and especially with the New Zealand dollar. We can see here that Kiwi has dropped a little bit and dropped significantly, was the biggest or the weakest currency of last week. We were talking about this Kiwi weakness for a while and that we were looking for short opportunities on that particular currency. So if you did focus purely on New Zealand weakness, you would have done pretty well out of the majority of those markets. The strongest market of last week was the US dollar again, the US dollar being pretty strong coming through to the end of this month. Now, we are approaching a bit of a time where the dollar does usually come into an area where it tops out through the end of March, start of April in terms of seasonal reports, which we'll go through in another video soon. However, at the moment, according to strength and weakness, dollar very much bullish. Following that, the Canadian dollar remained bullish last week, even though it kind of struggled to gain too many places, as it's already stronger than a lot of currencies. It still remains in those high plus sixes. Going to the strength meter, then we can see this in a little bit more of a visual detail, and if I can just expand this up a little bit more so it's a little bit more visual for us. Here we go. What we can pretty much see from this is that effect of the New Zealand dollar. So the New Zealand dollar is that yellow line, and you can now see that it's weaker than pretty much every other currency apart from the yen. It hasn't quite crossed over against the yen just yet, but especially against the Canadian dollar, the US dollar, and now sort of euro and the Swiss franc, we're definitely seeing that those markets could potentially change in trend, and seeing some different sort of moves going on and some key resistances being broken on those sort of markets. If we actually just go take a look at some charts now, looking at the euro US dollar here, price is obviously in this downtrend. We did speak about the fact that the overall market is in an uptrend due to this weekly. However, due to that strength and weakness and that strength of the US dollar, it's likely for us to see some further downside in the short term. Now, daily time frame, impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Currently in an impulse phase. We could be starting a correction phase just because of this sort of candlestick formation here, and if price was to break back above this key level of 118.42, I think that we could see price heading back towards this key resistance level of 19.27. If price was to get back into 19.27, I think we'd see some sellers come back into the market, and we could see another retest of this key supporting point. So euro dollar very much looking like the downtrend could continue in the short term. However, this week we may see a bit more of a retracement phase coming back into the market. Pound US dollar then. So pound US dollar, really like the opportunities on pound. We spoke about this towards the Forex market wrap. We are technically in a longer term uptrend here. We do have a key support at 136.75, which the market has retested and found some support on. So, you know, now price is finding some support. What I need to see in order to be a buyer of this market, again, really speaking, is some higher lows or some kind of double bottom patterns and things like that. At the moment, we have the market making lower lows and lower highs, and that's unlikely to change unless we get some serious kind of higher lows coming in at that point and seeing a change of trend. So what I would need to see in order to be a buyer is that. So we need to focus on maybe the resistance levels this week, and the resistance level could be up around about 138.64. The reason being, within this sort of candlestick range through here, looking at sort of the volume profiles, we can see that the price at 138.64 is the highest traded volume level within this area. So what that means to me is basically if price comes back up to this point, we could see the downtrend continue. Where could we see it continue to? Well, we do have this nice little area down here where price may want to retest before moving higher. The reason being is because we've seen some strong support being driven from this point. So one or two things could happen for me. We could either look for the potential reversal set up this week in terms of if the price pulls back into this level, we start to see a higher low coming in. We could see a move back up into 138.64, or if price heads towards this level, we'll see some sellers coming back in there. One chart to really keep a focus on again is the sort of Kiwi. New Zealand dollar obviously very weak at the moment. We can see that with the significant move that we've seen recently from this area. Kiwi very weak, and it looks like that's going to continue. Now obviously we don't want to sell at previous support points, which is got where the price is kind of at the moment with what 0.6970s. I don't want to be a seller in here. I want to sell from those key resistance areas. So what I did was I looked again at the volume profiles within this sort of area, which shows me basically what the institutions have been putting their biggest orders in. The level of 0.7168 is going to be that level where we could see sellers re-enter the market. Alternatively, we'll see price just potentially consolidating here and seeing another breakout to the downside. But for me, I think Kiwi dollar shorts are the best option. Potentially not this week, maybe going into next week. This week, like I said, we could see that sort of pullback phase. But where do I want to be a seller of Kiwi dollar? I want to be a seller up here at 0.7168. So keep that level in mind. Moving on to Euro Kiwi then, this could be the one trending pair of the week that we could really see some big changes on. Reason being is because if I go take a look at this weekly time frame, we can see that price has found some significant support in here in the past, here and here. The market has significantly rallied here. Is that going to happen again? We have consolidated down here. Price has then gone to the upside slightly, but are we going to get that significant change like we've seen here in the past? Well, if we take a look at the sort of confluences that was here before, look at this trend line resistance. The market has respected this resistance here recently. We've blown straight through this level now. So I'm expecting price to head to the upside here. If I go to the daily time frame, we can see that the price has rallied, consolidated, rallied, and looking at that could be potentially come back into this area here. Now the most traded level is 166.22, so if price can come back into this point, we could see the market rally once more. So I'd like to see price pulling back into this area here, and I'd like to see buyers stepping back in at this point. Okay, so those are the key charts of the week. I hope you enjoyed this Forex market outlook, and I'll speak to you soon.